when I think we are moving towards that. I think AI will definitely help in that regard. That's where I a lot of talk is happening how AI is going to take away a lot of jobs, right? But whenever there is a change, a radical change like this happening in the world, you can take any past kind of reference as well, the past industrial revolutions. Always any kind of revolutionary change takes away certain jobs, also creates certain jobs. This change will, of course, take away certain jobs, certain mundane tasks, but people will also evolve in their ways of working, and they will maybe try harder to differentiate themselves from AI generated stuff to what is the unique original content generated stuff. I would go back when I started here in CIELHR. That's when my association with communication started. So basically, it started with setting up the entire marketing machinery. CL was also very new when I joined here. So I started with the communication from the social media point of view. So social media to creating the base there, to going to the media comms side, to the campaign side, and then whenever there is a new launch, we would have a PR or things like that. That's how my introduction to communication started. Marketing professionals always have this dilemma, I think, that you do certain campaigns, you are always excited to run certain campaigns, but you will also have to show the ROI of that, right? So how measurable is your campaign is very important before you start or even plan out something. That's fairly easy when it comes to basically the social media giants like the LinkedIn or the Microsoft or the Facebooks and Metas of the world have set up a lot of these campaign parameters, which makes it very easier for us to track when we do something in social media. But unfortunately, such kind of an alternative is not available when it comes to print or when it comes to any kind of a digital media outreach. So we had to rely on many of the age-old mechanisms of tracking. Naturally, their PR agencies would have their own ways, and we would have also add on to that and kind of track wherever possible. Many times I felt that we missed out on many of these to track 100% effectively. So one of my easiest ways to circumvent all of this would be to track only the top medias. Like for me, we are a B2B organization. So I want to be seen on, let's say, an ET, or I want to be seen on a Money Control or Times or LiveNet or things like that. More such media outlets, right, which are in the top media. And many times I would only check them whether I am covered there. We did a release a day before, whether I am there or not, right? If I did a PTI flash, am I there on the top medias or not? But many times the digital media, which was picking up parallelly when I started with this, would be missed because they wouldn't appear on my target list in the beginning. So definitely, if there was a more convenient way of doing it at that point, I would have loved to kind of emulate that, take it ahead. But I didn't have it at that point. And yeah, to answer your question, it was the age-old method of just doing a Google search and getting it. Yeah. So there was one report that we did back in November 2017, which was actually on a negative sentiment of people. It talked about job losses. I think it was for the telecom sector. The sector was going through a lean phase at that point in time. And mm, we did an extensive survey and understood that about 90,000 job losses were going to happen. And the report actually came out in the newspapers and created quite a buzz in the uh, government circles as well. And we even got inquiries asking how did you kind of gather the data? How can you say that? So so it was one of those success kind of in terms of, although it was not a positive sentiment story, but it came out well at the end. When I think about how it was received in the circle and the steps that were taken, uh, which ultimately didn't result in so much of a job loss. Of course, my CEO would ask me that where do you stand now in terms of our competitors, right? Uh, uh, where are we? We do a lot of these research papers and all these things. Is it resulting in anything, right? So what I tell him is, see, this is giving us certain coverages in the media, but uh, what kind of coverages it is giving us, I can show you only with data. So certain data points, for example, how many times we have been as the headline news. So, so one beauty of having a research-oriented kind of an approach going to PR is you can become the headline news rather than having just giving a comment on something. So that has helped, I think, because of the strong research that we come up with. That helped us get a lot of headline views, and we, in fact, we had tracked this data over some time and found that uh, our headline share of voice had gone up significantly in the last 8-9 months, and we were able to talk about and differentiate our brand in many ways in the market when we talk about it. That we have been able to establish ourselves as a major thought leader in this industry because we say that uh, we have certain data points with us that where the established players in the market have not been able to get certain mind share of the people, whereas we have been able to get. Right. So clients, in fact, a lot of times ask you whenever, I'm sure you would have also encountered that why do you think uh, I should give the business to you rather than to your competition, right? So this helps us, these data backed insights, when we talk to them, that you can find us very frequently. Just do a Google search and you will see our name popping up uh, in any of the recent trending on the HR forum, of course, in the HR subjects. We would be trending either in as a media story or a standalone story, or even a lot of the video coverages as well. So yeah, those are the instances that I could recollect where it helps, I think. We want to benchmark ourselves among the other players in the market, similar players in the market, and we think that we are among the top three or top two, you can say. So the key metrics in my mind would be the number of readership. So that's how I count the awareness that I'm spreading of the brand, right? That's in a way you are reaching out to so many people who are seeing or at least in their mind can recollect sometime in future that it's about CIELHR as a brand. Second important metric that I track always is what is my share of voice out of my headline share of voice out of all this. So which helps me set apart from the rest. because I am not only coming in as a kind of just appearing somewhere in the entire coverage of 5-10 people, but I'm rather getting a principal point in there. Either I am the covered at the very start of a coverage, or the entire story is about the brand. So in my mind, these are the key metrics that I always track. I think it would only be relevant in terms of the digital coverages that we get. So if there is a backlink to our website, people are coming back to our website from there and resulting in a business. I know it's very difficult to track, but yeah, obviously it would be good to know that you know the numbers that to do this PR, I had a certain amount of investment of time and energy and all those, apart from whatever research we had done. And this has resulted me an X amount of business revenue generation, right? So that will definitely be something that any marketer would love to have. Yeah. I think another important thing that I would, as magic wand you mentioned, right? I always, I love social media a lot, especially LinkedIn. So I kind of try to find out ways how can I increase my engagement rates, how can I increase, send relevant content for my readers, for my followers, right? And they will only come back to you if they get relevant things from my side. How these coverages which I get can automatically be put as an excerpt. See, no one has a time in today's world to read the entire article, right? How can I gist that entire thing? I will just put 2 lines of my whatever I want to convey. It should concise that part and send it direct to the social media from the brand, post it directly there. I think that's a great feature that I would look for. It's been some years when the phrase content is king has started trending. I think it's still relevant. It's going to be relevant in future also, at least in the next 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years is a long term. In today's scenario, how dynamic the entire thing has become, especially with a lot of AIs evolving and contributing as well. So, of course, there would always be one challenge of the AI generated content. How do you differentiate from the AI generated content? Especially, I'm talking about from our business point of view. We are a very, very people centric business, right? We deal with people. So, our sentiments and our associations have to have certain kind of emotions related to it. So naturally our communications also have that element. So I think you can see behind, we stand on certain principles of professionalism, growth, dignity, diversity, right? So on these principles, if I allow an AI chatbot to communicate something to my end user, vis-a-vis if that is coming directly from the horse's mouth, it creates a different impact, right? So ultimately for me, I look at what value I am giving to the end user, and value can be in terms of time as well, because time is of great value for everyone. So if I'm able to give that time, create that valuable content to be given to the end user, which they can not only consume in a bite-sized format, but also consume effectively and utilize in their daily lives. I think that's where it will move on and will only evolve there. I think only a matter of time when some of these larger companies will come up with a mechanism to stop the spread of fake news and other stuff. When I think we are moving towards that, I think AI will definitely help in that regard. That's where I a lot of talk is happening how AI is going to take away a lot of jobs, right? But whenever there is a change, a radical change like this happening in the world, you can take any past kind of reference as well, the past industrial revolutions. Always any kind of revolutionary change takes away certain jobs, also creates certain jobs. This change will, of course, take away certain jobs, certain mundane tasks, but people will also evolve in their ways of working, and they will maybe try harder to differentiate themselves from AI generated stuff to what is the unique original content generated stuff. I think there's a saying which says that if you want to cause a panic, you say start by saying don't panic. So I think that's what has been happening from the last few months I have been seeing. Uh, of course, communications has a larger responsibility when it comes to, I think, the way you portray a message. Everything, uh, everyone has their own way of perceiving a message, but it is up to we comms professionals how do we put it in an effective manner where uh, it only communicates the moot point what we want to make rather than creating unnecessary confusion. Especially it happens when we run after creating a viral content, or when we unnecessarily try to generate eyeballs. Yeah, I understand there are a lot of pressures on many of the social media professionals and comms professionals to get more and more followers and more engagements. But having we also have a responsibility, a moral responsibility, that whatever we say um, should not be misleading for people. Everyone should start picking up, or if someone has the habit of already reading, should increase that habit of reading. Can be the reading of a newspaper in the morning, or at any time of the day on your smartphone, or to reading any novel. I think reading always helps. It not only improves your vocabulary, it also improves the way you communicate your thoughts. Right? So as a comms professional, you have to not only communicate the thought, it has to be effective communication of thought, and has to be precise as well, without talking about in lengthy sentences. Uh, it has to be precise to the point. Very We all know that everyone's attention of people is lower than even a goldfish's attention. So how do you capture that uh, quickly? We need to learn that. I think people, the current generation is already in that they know that they want everything at the tip of their fingertip, information at the tip of their fingertips. So I think they will have to figure out a way how they communicate when they are on the other side of the table, uh, quickly, effectively, and in bite-sized formats.